Hi everyone, this is Alec from Reddit's Hex Encounter community. I'd like to thank you for joining me tonight as I play through part of a game of Nightfighter Ace by Compass Games. I'm currently recording an overview video that's going to be hopefully a little bit more succinct and cleaned up than this is, but at any rate, I was looking to finish a playthrough, kind of keep going through it, and I thought maybe you all might like to join me. So, go over a few of the components here. Show you what we have. Here we have the box with a beautiful depiction here of what appears to be a Messerschmitt BF 110 with radar, having just downed a bomber, so that's pretty cool. This game comes with some fairly straightforward components. You're not going to find a big hex map here. It comes as a number of play aids. That include a bomber mat here, which is where you're going to be tracking downing the bombers. It has a fighter mat. This is where you keep track of effects on your fighter and where it is. A pilot card here to keep track of the career of your pilot, and an operations map. The components here are all very lovely. They're a high quality cardstock, well printed, beautifully produced. But all in all, it's a fairly simple experience you're going to be having here without a lot of chrome. A fairly procedural thing to work through. For those of you dialing into the stream live, I will be watching the chat. So if you have a question, clarification, please feel free to just send that in. And I'll kind of catch you up to my game as of where we are right now. So to start with, starting pilots in this game end up in one of a few aircraft, either randomly chosen or chosen by the player. And there are a few available at start aircraft that you can see based on the card is listed here as yellow, available at start. Let's see if we can get the camera to focus on this. Available at start with no prestige requirement, which means that pretty much anyone can get this right from the bat. You've got the BF 110, the JU88, and the Donair 215. Now, there are a mess of cards here. Like, this is just a ton of aircraft cards. Each little minor variant of every little one of these has its own card printed front and back. So we just got a whole lot of these. I joked on Twitter when I first unboxed this game that in case 9 unique BF 110 counters weren't enough, this game is for you. There's 10 unique BF 110 counters, which is about 9 more than you would see in any other World War II air war game. So, but be that as it may, I rolled up a pilot here, the Nightfighter Ace that I would be playing. I called Carl Sturm. He started his career in the Netherlands flying a BF 110 F4, and then started going through a series of missions. As you can see here, early in their career with a not terribly capable aircraft, the interceptions were few and far between and not terribly successful, only 2 kills in the first month. However, after some interesting events, here you see that I actually replaced my fighter and had a period of rest, which was driven by me being shot down. Getting into slightly more capable aircraft then yielded incremental gains in the number of bombers I was able to kill, which then further led me to be able to down more bombers. As the pilot accumulated skills, I eventually ended up with a banner month of October here, where my monthly total was 11 kills. So this so far has been a pretty good playthrough, which means probably means in the next half hour or so, I'm going to get shot down or just crash. That's what I'm doing my last guy, just crashed in the fog. So not a lot detrimental or bad happened so far. Let's see here. 3 aircraft swaps. This one was simply elective since I had reached the prestige to finally get a very, very capable radar suite on the BF 110, so I went for that. Interceptions are key. And then here in 43, right in the end of the month, that was beautiful. I was actually shot down by a Nightfighter right as I was taking off. So that was a pretty bad day. But aside from that, not a lot going on. Most recent event was my pilot getting wounded by shrapnel in the cockpit. So let's hope that that doesn't happen again. And my most recent mission was bomber stream coming into Berlin, where I was actually able to get into the bomber stream, have my fighter weave from bomber to bomber to bomber, engaging 5 bombers, shooting down 3 of them. And that actually ended up awarding me this award here, the German Cross in Gold, for having my 20th kill. So that is an important prerequisite if you want to get one of the top night fighters in the game, which is the HE-219. You need to have Prestige 7, German Cross in Gold, and be in the Netherlands in 1 NJG1, which is the unit flying the HE-219. So currently the prestige level of my pilot is 6. I'll go ahead and show you that here and show you where my pilot and crew currently are seated. So let's see here. 6 is the current prestige level of my pilot. I am flying an enlisted aviator, and in fact, at this point, I am 1 mission away from doing a promotion check. I'm hopeful, given the number of kills that they've had. Shot down a few times, been wounded, a couple of the standard service awards here on progression. I've got some prestige to spend. I've got some experience that I'm banking for the moment. Big upgrades to the pilot so far are the bomber stream skill, which allows me, when I do an interception, a very successful interception, to go bomber to bomber to bomber without re-rolling interception, and the expert skill for the BF-110. For my radar operator, I actually did get him the radar operations skill, which then again makes interceptions that much more likely. See, there's a space up here for an optional ace card. It's kind of like picking a starting scenario. I've not yet played with this deck, but there's a deck of cards here that essentially show you a number of historical pilots and gives you starting abilities for them. So it allows you to role play a little bit in case you wanted to be, Rudolf Schonert here and recreate his career in the DO 215 and the JU-88. So not played with those yet. All right, so enough with the setup. Let's have a sip of our beverage of choice and get into the game. All right, not having a turned phase marker here, I just use a random damage marker to help me with this. First thing that we're going to do is we're going to figure out what the raid target is, and that'll be on a 2d6. Okay, that result is a 6. So consulting one of the frequent play aids that you'll be using. Let's see, what month are we on? We are at the tail end of November, which the result of a 6 will give us Berlin. Okay, so gonna just note that on the log here. Okay, repeat mission to Berlin. Got to figure out what the weather is. That's a straight D10 roll. Yeah, call that a leaner. All right, 4, as I obliterate my player mat here. Okay, so a 4 on the weather indicates for us that it's good weather. 1 through 7 is good weather. So no issues. Random electronics failures. This is always problematic. Initially, actually, in the BF-110, there are no electronics, so you don't really have to worry about it at all. There's nothing to fail. This later model, G4U6 that I'm flying, actually has quite a good kit. The 4 things that I will note is, in addition to the forward firing guns, let me lift this up for the camera. Okay. So that in addition to the forward firing guns, I do have 1 set of oblique guns here with a pretty pathetic 3 ammo, but it's still a very capable weapon. And then a very large electronic suite that includes my main radar, it includes a homing device, and it includes a blind approach receiver for landing. So at least until the homing device gets ineffective due to British tech advancements, will be doing pretty well. But there's a lot of stuff to break here on start. See that we've got a couple people downloaded in the stream. Thank you. Glad to see you here. Feel free to drop a question into the chat, and I'll try to get to you. Otherwise, I'm just kind of talking to myself. All right. So random electronics failure. This is kind of the same table that you would have for damage. If any of you are familiar with the other games done by this designer, excuse me, done by this designer here, Gregory Smith, from, say, The Hunters, or from not Silent Victory. Silent Victory. It's a very similar set of tables and tools that you would be using. So looking here on the aircraft damage table, there's a whole section here for random stuff breaking. Thankfully, the preponderance of them, 5 through 9, is no effect. So we'll go for that. 9 would be no effect, so I'll take it. All right. So we are here in the Netherlands. This raid is going to Berlin, which is not that far from me. We are in the correct endurance box. Now it's time to see if we got a head fake. The British operationally would have decoy raids or a strong amount of jamming for the approach lanes, and so there could be the German operation getting deceived and getting a late start, or losing an opportunity to intercept here. So this is simply a roll of 2d6. I rolled a 7, which anything less than a 9 or less is fine. So I did not lose any endurance due to that deception, and I now have 1, 2, 3, 4 boxes of endurance to do these interceptions. Looking at the player log here briefly, we will note that this is awful. We have no moon. So it turns out that actually trying to find a bomber in the middle of the night in the dark with no illumination whatsoever is really hard to do, even if you have a ground controller in your ear telling you where you are and where they are and that you're right on top of them. So any amount of moon actually helps you with having successful interceptions, and the lack of moon very much hurts you. And so you'll actually see that as the month goes on, there's a whole cycle here from the night getting brighter as the moon gets more prevalent, and then dimming back off again, and then a kind of a rolling DRM that's pretty consistent. Regrettably, on the operations map, the tracks for tracking the moon DRM are somewhat incomplete, so you just kind of have to remember it, although no moon is on the tracks. Okay, we're at -2 DRM on an interception for not having the moon. So let's take a look at our interception DRMs. Okay, let's see if I can get this mostly in frame. And I apologize for focus issues. I am just now learning the ins and outs of this camera and how to get it to be so that you can see what I want you to see. So 9 or a 10 is an interception. 11 and beyond actually means I can get into the bomber stream, which my pilot has the skill to do. I do have a working radar. I don't suffer the -1 for no working radar. There's currently no significant British jamming that's going to affect me. I do have no moon, so I'm at a -2 DRM for the moon. My radar operator does have the radar operation skill, so I'm back up to a -1 DRM, and then I get plus whatever I need for my operational radar sets. For my main radar, the Liechtenstein C1, I get +1, which brings me back to no DRM. And for my homing device, is another +1. So my net DRM, despite the fact of having no moon whatsoever, is still a +1. Let's pause for a moment here on this homing device. What exactly is it that we mean? Kudos here to Compass on including all this information. And of course, any of you familiar with the GMT offerings in this era done by Lee Birmingham Wood, they all have fantastic context and information. And so for that, we'll just kind of hop back here and we can read all about it. Let's see what this is. This is the FUG 221A, which, here we go. If we see right here, it was a homing device that was developed to detect the Monica transmissions. I'm looking here at what Monica was. Monica was a tail warning device on the British bombers. And so this really was the beginning of cat and mouse in electronic warfare. The British wanted to alert the crews that there was a bomber, that there was a fighter right behind them, and the best way to do that is with radar. So they put tail-mounted radars looking behind the bombers to alert the crew that a night fighter is approaching. Well, this device here is simply a direction-finding homing beacon for that radar. So they were able to use that to find the bombers and back and forth. That's why this actually goes away in February 44, because that's when the British captured a night fighter that had one of these devices and realized that they were in trouble. So, okay, so my net DRM on these interceptions for the entire turn, unless something breaks, is +1. So I'll roll my first interception on a D10 at +1. Okay, 9, that's good. That's going to be an interception. Regrettably, 9 is not 10. There's the face that's rolled. I'm sorry. So 9 augmented to 10 is great. I wanted an 11 to get in the bomber stream, but I'll take it. So right off the bat, as soon as we get to where the bomber stream is, we find one. 2d6 off of the target table to figure out what we got. Again, this is a lot like the Hunters where, did I encounter an oiler and did I encounter a battleship? Now it's just, what bomber did I encounter? Having rolled a 5, we are now looking at the Halifax with the H2S. So, just digging around for my Halifax markers here. Okay, there's the Halifax H2S. That H2S designation is essentially that this Halifax has a navigation radar, a ground mapping radar that was pretty early. And again, various technology could home in on that radar. Now, we don't have anything that can home in on H2S, but okay. So we'll place that here on the center part of this mat. First thing that we check for in this interception is that we have enough speed to overtake this aircraft. The speed of our night fighter is 17. The speed of the bomber that we're chasing here is a 14, so we got plenty of speed on it. I'm going to choose to conduct an attack with my Schrag Music, or the oblique guns on this aircraft. You can kind of think of these as guns mounted kind of behind the pilot, upwards at 70 degrees. And so, if this is the top of the bomber and this is the belly of the bomber, the fighter would be right under it, firing straight up. So I'm going to choose to make one of those attacks. I'll go ahead and decrement 1 ammo of that system. I get to choose at what range I do that. I will choose to do it at medium range. I'm not wanting to get close enough to get shrapnel on me. And you have to choose what you're aiming at. As you approach, where are you going? Now in this case, you must choose a wing target group if you're doing an oblique gun attack, and functionally port and starboard are going to be side, so I'll just default here to the port wing. I see we have a question real quick, or at least Irish Historical Gamer stopping by along with Cleric. Thank you both for coming by. Please do let me know if you've got questions. Like I said, otherwise it's just me talking to myself. But okay, so we're aiming at the port wing group, and we're right up on it. So we need to figure out, did we get there without them knowing that we were there, and how effective was this attack? This is all done by the resolution of the combat cards. So let's just go ahead and do that. Okay. So this card here is kind of a really good one. Importantly, we look here at the contact info to start. We are not spotted. We fire first. Boy, if anyone has a tip on how to get these Logitech cameras to focus near field so you can read what I'm doing, please do send it to me. And the bomber will begin to corkscrew next round. That was a defensive tactic that the bombers did to to throw a night fighter off their tail. If they start doing rapid turns, they could be lost in the night. But at any rate, so we'll ignore the bottom part of the card for now. The firepower of the gun that I'm using here is 12. And that corresponds to 5 random hits on the hit card. So we'll go with that. I will take 5 random hits. That's a pretty good day. So over here to the bomber random damage table, we have, depending on where you're aiming, one of 2 columns. First one here being at the fuselage, essentially, whether or not you're trying to aim at the gunner or the airframe or one of the wings. So we're going to roll here on this wings table. Had we gotten a GP result, that means that we would have had a good clustering of hits, and there would have been a prescribed series of damage, and it would have been quite predictable. So we're going to go ahead and roll here. This is a straight D10, and I will get 5 of these rolls. Okay, I'll start with a 1, which is damage to the wing itself. So I'll mark that as port wing damage. 3 is also wing damage. You'll note here 1 through 3 are wing. I'm kind of liking where this is going. If I'm able to fill down to the X, I've destroyed that system. And one thing I like to say, aircraft don't fail gracefully. Things can pretty quickly go from I got it to being a flaming hole in the ground. World War II, systems were slower. There were some pretty decent redundancies, lots of engines on these bombers, etc. So they got a little bit more. Nowadays, there's very little I got it. So you get enough damage on a wing, it's going to lose integrity, plane's done. You got to kill. Okay, so that's 2 of our 5 results. Let's keep going. Another 1. Okay, so with that, I'm going to keep rolling here. And the reason why I'm going to keep rolling is there is the... this mainly matters at close, I believe, but if you get a fuel tank, there's an opportunity for it to actually explode. Additionally, if you get a bomb bay, there's a chance to trigger an explosion. And why might that be useful? Well, why might that concern you? Well, as I mentioned, this is at night, and combat was actually at pretty close ranges. If you look here at the combat rules, you'll notice that there are actually rules for, if I can find them real quickly, for explosions happening very close to the other aircraft. And of course, while we're live on a stream, the specific rule is eluding me, but if you are at close range and you get an explosion, bad things happen. Let me just, perhaps it's here on the next page. Here we go. Yep, it's in the Nightfighter damage section. So, Nightfighters can take damage from bombers that explode from a bomb bay hit, or if the Nightfighter is at close range when this occurs. Okay, so we'll go ahead and stop rolling. We are not at close range and cannot trigger a bomb bay hit explosion that would damage us. So we have downed the bomber. The way the first round of combat works is you have surprise, unless the card tells you otherwise. And so we get to unload into the bomber. If we kill it, it's gone, and that's a good day for us. Sometimes the cards tell you combat simultaneous. Sometimes the cards tell you that the bomber fires first because it spotted you. In this case, we were fine. That's one of the really big advantages of these oblique guns, is that the way that you're approaching the bomber, it really does not have an angle to shoot at you. So the only 2 options really are going to be you get there and you shoot it, or it just starts peeling away. So you're really not going to get shot at before you get started. Now, if we had done a more traditional attack here, maybe I started at medium range, we could have done several phases of combat here as I got closer and closer to the fighter before I got to the bomber, before I got to close range, at which point I'd have to circle back around for another pass. If that happens, there's a chance that you won't find it again. Again, big sky, it's dark. So at any rate, I consider myself pretty lucky that we got this. So getting out the handy log here. This was a Halifax that we had encountered. And that was a kill. Circle. Okay, and so that was essentially our activity here in this first range box. We'll proceed to the next range box and roll again for interception, recalling that the DRM is +1. So rolling interception, 7 + 1 is 8. That is not sufficient to intercept. So we'll move to the next range box. Rolling 10. Okay, this is a good day. Rolled a 10. +1 makes it an 11. As I mentioned, my pilot has the bomber stream skill. So this is going to be where we can role play a little bit. How is it that these fighters actually got all these skills? How did these aces get the high kill counts? we made it into the bomber stream. So I have a bomber stream counter here. I'm going to denote to myself that I am in the bomber stream, and I am going to figure out who I'm attacking here. So that was a roll of an 11 for bomber target. Okay, still in November. This is actually a good thing that we're in the bomber stream here. At a roll of an 11, this is actually a mosquito that we found. Mosquito 9 H2S. So the issue with the mosquito is those guys are fast. If we look up here, we can see the mosquitoes have speeds of 18 versus our fighter who has a speed of 17. So you actually can't close on these. In fact, generally speaking, the only ones that you're going to close on are going to be the mosquito Nightfighters, the escort fighters that the British put in these bomber streams to hunt for me, which would have been bad. If I had rolled boxcars, that's who we'd be facing. So we've encountered the bomber stream, and the first guy that we roll up on, we're angling for our shot, and after we get going a little bit, we catch a reasonable glare from something, and oh, that's not a Wellington or a Lancaster, that's a mosquito. And we're peeling off. We are not able to intercept this. Had this not been a bomber stream result and me with the bomber stream skill, we'd be done. We'd have to try a new interception round and go to a new range box. Because I have the bomber stream skill, though, we're going to a new round of combat. And so I automatically re-intercept, and I get to roll again. Okay, that roll is 7, which is a Lancaster. So we'll go ahead and note that we've got a Lancaster coming up here. And I will find my Lancaster little reminder counter. Functionally here, looking at the differences, the Lancaster has more airframe hit points all the way down to here than a Sterling does, or the Halifax. And it's just a little bit, that's actually the same speed as the Halifax. But okay, so we're going to roll up with our oblique guns again. We're going to do so at a medium range. You know what, just to show this here, let's go ahead and go to close range. This is me essentially right underneath this guy. I mean, almost trading paint, okay? Which is going to give me an extra roll on the random damage table. And so let's do it. Okay, so again, looking at the contact section, I like what I see here. We are not spotted. We fire first, and the bomber corkscrews later. And again, at 12 firepower, I get 5 rolls. At my range, this will actually make it 6 rolls. So again, I like these odds. This was not a group result, so again, we're rolling on the wing table here on a D10. First roll is a 10. Okay, that is the fuel tank. That could potentially be catastrophic. So we'll keep rolling these and we'll resolve that special damage at the end. 1 will make it the wing. Again, my default is port wing targeting. All right, so we're done. I rolled a second 10, which is automatically a fire result for the aircraft. This thing burst into flames. For fun here, actually, so let's go ahead and roll the first fuel tank result. If the aircraft exploded, I am literally trading paint with this guy right underneath him. So if this guy exploded, that's going to be very bad for me. So just 2d6 with no DRM to figure out what happened with that first fuel tank hit. Whew, I saw a 6 and that made me scared. Thankfully, it was 7. So that was just a fuel leaking result from that first hit. So we're under it. We unload into it. We'll note here that the caliber of this weapon, these oblique guns, is 3 centimeters. This is a 30 millimeter weapon. Those of you familiar with modern armaments, this is the same size round as the GAU 8 that the A10 carries. Now, certainly at a lower rate of fire and with less ammunition than the GAU 8. But an air-to-air 30 millimeter round from point blank is just a really, really bad day. So this Lancaster burst into flames. The crew never knew what happened. And that's kill number 2 for this sortie. And we're in the bomber stream. And so as this guy bursts into flames, we have our eyes on the next one. And that's just how this is going to roll. We're going to stay in the stream until either we run out of ammunition here, or we suffer enough damage that I'm not willing to risk the fighter anymore, and have discretion be the better part of valor. So we've got one more ammo on the oblique guns, and so we're going to use it. First, let me figure out who we've come across. Oh, this is... Damn it. Okay, I mentioned boxcars is the Mosquito Nightfighter. And so this big ball of flame erupts, great amount of light. We are silhouetted briefly, which leads this Mosquito 2 crew. It gives them enough illumination to know that we are here, potentially. Hopefully, we can be lucky, and it's that we saw that they were here. So we all now get back down to initiative. Who had the drop on whom? Which I'm going to be keenly interested in. Now, as you can see here, rolling boxcars on interception is not a very frequent result. So you'll bear with me here while I double check that I'm doing the procedure right. But when one encounters a Nightfighter, you're generally going to be rolling here on the initiative chart to figure out, was it the British Nightfighter that spotted the German hunter, or was it the German Nightfighter that spotted that there was an escort? But since I don't have speed, I'm not going to be able to choose to engage him, and I'll have to lose him like I lost the other Mosquito. So, briefly here we go, British Nightfighter combat. Rolling the initiative chart. If you win the initiative, you may attack the British Mosquito only if you are at least as fast. If you aren't fast enough, the encounter is over. Okay, let's hope for that one, because this guy can ruin my day. Now, he can ruin my day. If you end up shooting down a Nightfighter, that's actually a prestige point just for having done it. You know, that's a so there I was story at the squadron bar, if there ever was one. That's the problem, is in many of those cases there isn't that story because you're dead. Okay, so initiative table. This is a D10, flat D10. Here are the modifiers. If I lack a radar that benefits the British, I have a radar. If I have the radar operation skill, I am favored, as in my radar operator knows his stuff. He does. I will go ahead and say that I'm only going to give myself the radar DRM from my main radar, not from the homing radar, which makes sense because this isn't interception, and of course this guy did not have a Monica system that I'm intercepting. So I get +1 for my radar operator skill on my crew. I get +1 from my radar. Let's see here. I do not have the situational awareness skill. And this is not the Mosquito 9 Nightfighter. So I see +2 DRM in my favor, which is encouraging. The situational awareness skill is actually a fairly inexpensive skill that you can buy for your enlisted crew. And this is people having their head on a swivel, right? You know, folks that are looking around and having good SA and are telling you where things are. So, okay, here we go. This is a D10 with a +2 DRM. I'm hoping for a 6 or better. 7, okay. I spotted him, not the other way around. And I do not have the speed to choose to engage. I let him go. Again, had this not been all occurring within the bomber stream, we'd be done and we'd be moving on to a range box. But we automatically intercept our next target. So, 2d6 here on what that is. Yeah, that's a 6, which is another Lancaster. Okay, and yet again, I'm going to choose to do this one from medium range, not close for the oblique gun. Find my Lancaster marker. There we go. Port wing targeted group. I'm going to expend my last ammo for the oblique guns and pull the card. Oh, I like this card considerably. I'm not spotted, so we do get the hit off. The result for the 12 firepower of our guns is DE, as in destroyed. It's just done. Don't roll random tables, don't resolve anything. This guy just falls out of the sky. Okay. So that is now 3 in a row. And I'm good. I'm going to keep going here. You'll notice that with this variant of the BF-110, it's actually unlimited ammo here for the forward guns and the forward cannons. It's going to net a lower value, but it's still something I can do. So I'm going to kind of keep going here until I start to incur some damage from these tail gunners, which will damage some of my systems. Potentially also I can get jams on these cards, which will then make my guns less useful. But we're going to go for it. So, okay, who's next? 4 is the result. 4 is a Halifax. Okay, noted on the log. Drop the Halifax in over here. Again, port. Oh, wait, I am out of oblique guns, aren't I? Yep, that's 3 oblique guns and 3 kills already. So now I have a few more options. I can choose the port wing group, the starboard wing group. I can choose to go for the airframe or the gunner. And there's something to be said about going for the gunner. If you're able to get a group result having targeted the gunner, you will guarantee to do a crew wound result here on the gunner. If you can kill him, he's not shooting back at you. If you get a serious wound on him, he'll get 1 less random damage result. But there's just not enough there, in my opinion. These aircraft have just a ton of hit boxes here in the airframe, and there's even the dreaded no effect here on the airframe. So I want to just try and poke holes in a few of the wings and continue with my port wing targeting. So my next choice. If I do this at long range, I will get three goes at it: long range, medium range, close range, and then break off. When you circle back around, there's a 1 in 3 chance that you lose the quarry altogether. That's not so bad, particularly if you're in the bomber stream, because you lose one and you go for the next one. And so I'm personally going to try and minimize my exposure to these tail gunners, because believe me, the first time that you start peppering them with bullets, they're firing back at you that whole way too. So I'm going to choose to actually do this from close range, which is going to give me a +1 random hit, and then a +1 random hit, but we're going to go for that. So, okay, we're at close range. I'm firing with all my weapons, so this is firepower of 10, and I'm firing at the port wing. Oh, boy, wow, okay. I like this card considerably. We fire first, it doesn't corkscrew yet, and no matter what we did, it dies, so... That's another Halifax gone. I'll note here that the reason that we were able to do all of this, okay, this is no moon. Interceptions are terrible, but I worked my way towards an aircraft that had significant advantages in interception. And I waited a very long time and got my radar operator this skill, which gave me yet another DRM. This DRM is absolutely everything. And my pilot had the bomber stream skill. So I was able to do just this, swim bomber to bomber without having to re-roll. One good roll was all I needed, and I could just bank on this. And this is historically accurate. The Nightfighter aces, the people that had the Knight's Cross with swords and all those accolades, would end up doing these tame board tactics of just swimming the bomber stream. It's Shark Week here at Hex Encounter. All right. So where am I? Okay, I blew something up. What's next? Okay, 5 will be a Halifax with an H2S. If any of you out there on Twitch have the rules handy, I think we're going to need to get a rules reading on what happens when you fill up a log line. Are you done, or can you extend? So if anyone can have a read on that for a minute, that'll keep me from having to look it up. But okay, so we're engaged in Halifax. Again, I will do so from the close range. Okay, this is now a perfect opportunity for me to show you another card. So, all right, so here's what's going to happen. This gun jam happens first. Okay, so one of my 2 forward guns is randomly going to jam, bringing me from 10 total firepower down to either 4 or 6. Either way, that puts me here on this lower table. Okay, now I still do fire first, so I would get all those. It would actually be 4 rolls, which wouldn't be that bad. The thing that I'm considering, one, if you have a weapons maintenance skill on your crew, they can actually negate the weapons jam. But I am an expert here in the BF-110. And that expert skill is actually pretty incredible. Let me pull that up here from the play aid. All right, so expert. May redraw 1 gunnery card per intercept. May use the new card's hit value effects, if any. This skill is bought once per aircraft series. So the way that I read the rules is each interception in the bomber stream is automatic, and they are each their own interception. So once per engagement here, I can go, nope, not that card. So I can keep this card, accept the gun jam, and actually have a pretty decent result. But I'd have the gun jam. I can go for a new card, and there's a chance, I probably won't get a gun jam, but there's a chance that something equally that is worse is going to happen. Let's go ahead and let's bite the bullet. Let's go ahead and take the gun jam. I'm going to roll 1 through 3 will be the first weapon. All right, it's my second weapon that jams. So my forward cannon is now jammed. I fire first, that's 3 hits. I'm at close range, so that's augmented to 4. So I get 4 random hits on the wing of this bomber. So let's just see how this goes. Okay, 6 is the inboard engine on this side. So I'll go ahead and mark that. 10 is the fuel tank. It's good, I always like hitting that. 9 is the outboard engine. And 6 is the inboard engine yet again. Okay, so good news here. Since one of his engines is inoperative, he's not going to be able to corkscrew. He doesn't have enough power to essentially do the corkscrew, maintain altitude, or recover enough altitude, and stay where he needs to be within the bomber stream. So he's going to have to keep trucking along if he wants to have a hope at doing his mission. So that's good. And corkscrews essentially reduce my effectiveness by 1. Let's see what this fuel tank did. Okay, fuel tanks 2 through 7 is just he's losing fuel. Anything better than that is good for us. Okay, that's exciting. The thing explodes, and everyone dies. So let's go ahead and at least give us credit for having done that. So the Halifax explodes. Suppose we don't have to worry about him shooting back at us now. And so now I have to double check that what happens when you're close and something explodes rule. All right, the damage section. Yeah, okay. Nightfighters can take damage from bombers that explode from a bomb bay hit. If the Nightfighter is at close range when it occurs, roll, etc. Bombers are still considered loaded. Okay, so I don't see anything here about either in the play aid or in the rule book about just a general explosion from close. So we'll just take that then as a kill and go to the next fight, bomber in the bomber stream. Okay, out of 4, that means that we encountered another Halifax. All right. So yet again, I'm going to be very close. Clear off all this damage. It's still a Halifax. One of our guns have jammed here, so we're just going to be going with the other one. Oh boy, I'm doing very well here. 4 hits modified to, oops, I'm sorry. 4 hits modified to 5 for the being in close range. We're not spotted, so we fire first. So 5 rolls on the port wing. Okay, 4 should be an airframe result. 1. Another 4. That's my least favorite number. 2. I rolled a 9, which was, what did I say that was? Outboard engine. 1, 2, 3. 2 more rolls. A 6 was the inboard engine. I don't like the spread so far. And my final one, 7, which is the inboard engine. Okay, so thankfully I knocked an engine out. That's good. But now he's awake and shooting back at me. So I guess we'll finally get a chance to show you the random damage mechanic for us. I'm just double checking here the range effect in combat. Okay, interesting. So reading through the rules here on range effects, at long range, both aircraft lose a hit. At medium range, there's no modification. At close range, the Nightfighter gets an additional hit. Oh, I'm sorry, as does the rear gunner. Okay, yep. So we're going to take now this card, which is 2 hits, and that will be augmented to 3 by the range that we have. And I'm just trying to figure out if I want to burn. I will. I'll burn my expert skill on this pull and get a new card. Same. Okay, so still 2 hits. So total of 3 hits from the gunner on this bomber to me. And so much like in the Hunters, we have the 36 element random damage table. So roll 2d6. I will choose to have the leading digit be the black die. So my first roll is a 56, which are my rear guns. I have no rear gunner, so it's no effect. That's the first. I get 2 more results. 52 is my airframe. I guess 2 can play at this hitting useless spots game. Okay, and then finally 55 is my airframe. Okay, well, you know, could be worse. Still got it held together here somehow. All right, so I'm going to circle back around for another pass. Like I mentioned, there's a 1 in 3 chance of losing the aircraft altogether when doing so. I don't know if I want to stay in the stream. I'm got some damage, but this guy, I want the kill. So 1 or a 2, I lose him. Okay, that was a 4. So I encounter him yet again. This is a new round of combat. He does not know I'm here. So, and he is not corkscrewing because of the engine damage. So, from close range. Okay, well that's pretty awful, and I lost my skill. So, yep, I just have to live with this awfulness. He spotted me coming around. They were their heads were on a swivel. They spotted me coming around, and they get to fire first, and I'll get 2 measly hits when I get to do it. So his fire card, oh my god, is 3 augmented to 4. So he's going to get 4 shots on me. This might be the end of the game, folks. This might be a short stream. All right, 4 hits on me. Again on the random table. So 42 is my port wing. That's my first one. My second one is a 25, my port engine. Okay, 2 more results. 55 is my airframe, and that is going to be all she wrote for this aircraft. Final result is a 23, which is my starboard engine. Okay. All right, so my airframe is done. There's nothing left here. So when you fill it for an aircraft, the aircraft is destroyed. Roll for each crewman to parachute. Before we do that, though, let's figure out what happens here. This bomber got shot up pretty good. and it's down an engine. Maybe it chooses to return. Maybe it crashes. We don't know. The way that you determine the outcome for this aircraft is on a roll of a 1, it actually had to force land or crash to do the damage. That's augmented by 1 for any system that's on its last leg. So here, 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 or here. And +1 or -1 for every engine that's out. So on a roll of 1 or a 2, this guy actually ends up crashing. 3. No dice. Okay. So no kill there. We got shot down. And it's time for everyone to bail out. The everyone bail out DRMs and events here is on a D6. Okay. 1 through 5, no issues. On a 6, you break a leg and you're lightly wounded. There are beneficial DRMs if you have the parachute skill or have ejection seats, which surprisingly, some of the early ejection seats were in this type of the war. And then more serious DRMs if you're wounded. Thankfully, none of our crew are wounded. So really, it's on a roll of a 6, something bad happens. It's only me and the radar operator. Black die is me, white die is the radar operator. We're both fine. Get out of the aircraft, no problem. Float back to the world. So I'll just note here, shot down, the log. Okay, so we were shot down. Total kills for this sortie, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. It's 5, which for the month gives us, let's see here, that's November. So November total. 5 and 3 is 8, and then the previous 2 is 10 kills for the month of November, which gets me to 25 kills. I'm sorry, I can't do math. 27 kills for the campaign so far. Okay, not so bad. So we got shot down. Let's double check what happens, and we'll go ahead and advance the turn here to the, you're back on the ground. Move our marker over. All right, so let's see here. Just make sure that I get the appropriate, here we go, bailing out. You and your crew can bail out of the aircraft. Wounded crew, bad deal, getting hurt, etc. Even if the pilot bails out without injury, you will miss the next sortie as he and the crew return to base and are reassigned to new aircraft. Place R on the raid column on the line next to the sortie. Essentially, you're going to lose 3 or 4 days getting back, getting slightly patched up, and finding another aircraft. So we'll note that. Let's look over the awards here to see if there's anything that would pertain. Let's see here. Thankfully, no one got wounded, so no increases in the wound badge. I already have Iron Cross, 1st and 2nd class from the various kills that I have. This was my 26th sortie, so no increment in, say, my operational flight clasp. I just received the German Cross and Gold last sortie, so we're fine there. The Knight's Cross doesn't begin to be evaluated until 30 kills. So I'm maybe a sortie 2 away from being eligible for the Knight's Cross. I've been an ace for a while. I don't get that. I did not end up downing any of those mosquitoes I found, and no B-17s. Okay, so nothing there. We do note here that on this sortie is a promotion sortie. We've just ended the 4th month of the campaign. So the way promotions work is roll a 1d6. On 1 to 4, you promote. Let's see here. -2 per award of a Knight's Cross. I don't have a Knight's Cross. -1 per 10 kills. So I actually have 27 kills. So that's -2 for my kills. -1 for the Iron Cross First Class or the German Cross and Gold. I had received both of those this period. And +1 for each aircraft lost due to a crash landing. So this aircraft we just lost doesn't count against us. We were doing our job. We shot them. They shot us. We got 5 of them before we got punched out of the sky. That's fine. If we had tried to land this and I goobered it up and we just lost the aircraft on the ground due to me being an idiot, that actually goes against you for promotion. And I'm just looking here on my raid log at all the aircraft that we've lost and shot down for that one. Rough landing, I got injured. the aircraft was fine. It was just me. Let's see here. This was me being shot down again by the Nightfighter, and then this is me being wounded. I landed it, okay? I did land it, but it was just me being wounded, and a couple week recovery for being wounded. So this is actually an automatic promotion. It's successful on a 1 through a 4, and I subtract 4 on a d6. So my little enlisted member here just picked up his next rank, and he's going to go from an Unteroffizier to a Feldwebel. Pardon my horrible German accent, which I don't have. So I'll dive into my counter tray now to do the nice little flavor thing here that we're going to do and get the right new rank for this guy. There we go. I'll have you all know that I clipped these counters just for you. I could not imagine what you would think of me had I not done so. Okay. And so that promotion is successful. And importantly here, in the prestige mechanic, there's two things that happen actually with this promotion. The first of which is the ability of this NCO improves. So we go from being most likely able to scrounge up some parts for broken aircraft without having to miss a sortie to guaranteed. We've got enough clout now where we can go, nope, that piece over there, come on, bring it over here, put it on my aircraft. Additionally, we receive a prestige point for having increased in rank. And I remember reading this when I was hoping to see how I would get to 7, and I just have to double check real quick on the promotion mechanic that indeed we do receive points. Da, 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 da. Okay. Let's see. All right. So here on the cases, every time a player receives an award, they get a point. Keep track of on the chart. You also get a point on your 5th kill for shooting down a mosquito, and for each. Oh, okay. That stinks. For each promotion, if an officer, well, apparently being promoted as the enlisted man that I am, is not prestigious enough. That's pretty awful, since I was really hoping to get my 7th prestige and be able to cross-train into the HE-219. But alas, I guess I'm just going to have to wait for a couple more kills here. So, okay, well, so that's that. I'll go ahead and check mark that promotion. Just updating my player log here that I have indeed promoted. German Cross and Gold, updating a few things. I'm on my 3rd wound badge. Okay. I'm denoting the next entry in the player log as a rest log since, they had to get me back and find me a new aircraft. Just going to double check that there's not another BF-110 as long as I'm getting a new aircraft that I want. It's always an option for you whenever you have to get a new aircraft. If your existing aircraft is perfectly serviceable, you have to spend prestige to requisition a new model or a model with new kit. In this case, if your aircraft is a smoking hole in the ground, you're entitled to a new one. So indeed, there are a few new BF-110s that I could go for. So let's take a look at these and figure out if we want to. I'll note that the month is December of 43. So this variant of the BF-110 is not available. Let's see if I can force it there until January. So much for that one. Okay, so all three of these are actually available to me. I have 6 prestige, and all of these require prestige level 6. I'll note that I really don't want any of these without oblique guns. I mean, that's just all there is to it. But no, I'm very much not happy. They have much more powerful forward cannons and forward guns. Incredibly powerful, 16 total instead of the 10 that I had. Same on both of these, with a lot of ammo and a rear gunner. So in case you do get into a night fight, you can shoot back with your rear gunner. Some better. It's got a Flensburg homing device, which is just as useful as mine. Oops, as I break everything over here. This R3 model here actually has 2 primary radar, a primary and a secondary radar, both of them integrated. You can actually see in the art here. There's a little tiny one up by the nose and the bigger one around it. So good on the interceptions, but I need those oblique guns. That's my bag right now. So I'm going to ask for just a new one of the one I broke. Okay, now I try and fix everything I just messed up here on my player aid. Wound badge, get my expert back. Bomber stream, radar up. Get an experience point. Oh boy. Yep, I probably had 2 with prestige 4. We'll go with that. Okay. All right. Any questions or comments from those of you out there in TV land that are watching this live before we start the next sortie? Okay, I will interpret your silence as consent to continue with the mission. So, we are now into the second sortie slot here in December. You'll note that there's no moon effect, so I'll go from a -2 DRM to no DRM. But we'll start here. Where is this raid going to? On a roll of 2d6, that's 2, which is going to be Cologne in the Ruhr. Okay, that's noted on the log. I'll move this little raid marker to help remind me that we're going to the Ruhr. That's actually really good for me. That gets me the most endurance possible. So we're going to find the bomber stream again this time. I feel it in my bones. Okay, what's our weather like today? 5 is perfectly fine. It's good weather. Do the British fake us out on spoofing the raid? At 2, they do not. So we are actually having all of the gas that we need. That's one thing to note here on the BF-110 is it doesn't have much of a gas tank. In fact, let me just pull one up here. So this might be one of the aircraft that I want to change to. Here's the HE-219. And you'll note that it's actually got a significantly longer range. 1 more gas on a lot of it, and a good number of the boxes are further to the left. So the BF-110 had a shorter gas range, a shorter gas tank. And so that was one of my big problems here early in the game was I just didn't have that many rolls. There were a lot of missions where I got to get 1 roll to try for a 10, and I was more likely to die by crashing into the ground than I was to an enemy gunner, which is historically accurate, actually, for a lot of these guys, particularly if they had to take off in poor weather. So, let's see, where are we? This is coming to Cologne. We don't get spoofed. We take off. We've got all of our endurance. So we're now on to interception. Okay. I see that we've got Compass Games even coming by. Thank you guys for coming, and thanks for promoting the stream. And if I do anything absolutely wrong, I blame someone else. Let's blame Bruce Garrick today. But if you have any feedback or things to fix for me, please do so. Okay, so we're intercepting. Again, we've got a lot going for us here in December of 43. We do have radar. That's fine. There's no jamming yet. The British don't have a significant jamming. There's no moon effect. We're in that kind of in between. You know, we're in the first quarter phase here. I do have the radar operation skill at +1. I have +1 interception, both from my main radar and from my homing device, since those are both active. So I'm at +3 total so far due to technology and the skill of my radar operator. And yeah, that's what we've got. So I'm at +3 now to roll a 9. That's pretty good. And really what I'm hoping for here is an 11, right, to get into that bomber stream. So we'll roll here in the first box at +3. 3 + 3 is 6. That's not going to do it. We'll go to the next one. 5 + 3 is 8. That's not going to do it. And of course, I had opened my big mouth about how great this was going to be. 2 + 3 is 5. All right, this might be a very boring sortie. 5 + 3 is 8. Oh boy, got one more. The good news is I get to show you guys how the landing mechanics work after having flown this entire sortie and having nothing happen. And those of you that are choosing to roleplay it and doing a little bit of reading on this, perhaps that we were part of a unit assigned to populate the Himmelbett, right? The range of radars that were along the Dutch coast to catch the British bombers going in or out. And if you didn't quite know where they're going to be, you had to have fighters there to have the zones be active. But if the bomber stream went another way, then another unit would be responsible for that interception. Alas, we get all the way through it. No successful interception, despite the +3 DRM that I had, and 5 chances to do it. And we now go into landing. You'll notice here that there's a comment here about intruder landing. The one downside about being on the Dutch coast is that the Mosquito Nightfighters and ground attack aircraft actually had the gas tank and the range to strafe airfields in the Netherlands and to engage with Nightfighters as they were taking off or landing. So that's going to potentially be a problem for us a little bit later. Thankfully, we don't run into that issue until April of 44. So for now, it's just going to be a straight landing. All right, so now we get to land. So looking at the landing DRM, here we go. We do receive a -1 due to our blind approach receiver. So we do have a little bit of an electronic aid on the approach. There shouldn't be anything else here. Nobody's wounded. We don't have any engines out. Our control surfaces are undamaged. We don't have the moon helping us, but we do have and we don't have the landing skill, but we do have the that approach receiver. So this is 2d6 at -1. Really, the worst thing that we can have happen here is a rough landing. Oops. All right. Well, that fell on the floor, but as you can see here, that 5 is going to mean that I did not roll a 12. So that's a good landing. And the sortie is complete. Good job, everybody. Took a lot less time than the last one that we just did. So we'll denote that as the 27th sortie. And I'll just usually I put NC, well, I won't here. Often I'll put NC for no contact, but I've been, in this log, leaving them all blank. Okay. And in the post, prestige and awards, nothing's changed between then and now. So I think we're good. We're back to the top of the order. We're on in a little bit later into the month and seeing where the next raid target is. That was a little bit of bad luck, but it does often balance out, and that happened. So I'm okay with that. All right, so that 7 that we rolled in December is a Berlin target. I'll note that. As long as we got that comment there on the bad luck on all those interceptions that we just did, that's fine. We can do the math right here. At +3, in order to have scored a 9, I would have had to have rolled a 6 or higher. 50-50 chance of rolling a 6 or higher on any roll. And so 50-50 chance to miss 25% chance of having missed both, a 1 in 8 chance of having missed all three, a 1 in 16, right? So that was a pretty bad set of rolls, certainly. What's even more awful is early in the game, you're on this one of these mats here, and it's a target in Munich. And so you're here, there's no moon, you scramble up to Munich, you get a raid spoof, and you've got one box here, and you're trying for a hard 10. And you know what? Occasionally, you roll the hard 10. The blind sow finds an acorn. You go, a bomber, and you end up, doing a full guns blazing, and unloading everything you have into it because you know you're not going to see another one before you land. So, but in this case, it was fine. Okay, so we're going to Berlin, or they're going to Berlin. We're trying to get in the way. Weather for this sortie is not great. An 8 makes it poor weather, but that again only affects landings. So we got poor weather. Let's just see if and I forgot to roll electronics failure on the previous one. So not that it mattered since we didn't find anything anyway. But that was my mistake on the sequence of play. So I'll roll that now. So. Rolling for electronics failure is 4. That actually might break something. All right. 4 does break something. So my homing device is inoperable, actually. So that's less great. It's just not my day. It was down for maintenance, and the capacitor was being replaced, and we got the siren, and we had to take off. So. Just what it is. That's why I've got such a good radar operator. Okay, and now checking for spoofs. 10 will spoof. I will lose an endurance. So we'll go here to the Berlin box, and we will lose 1 endurance for having been spoofed. All right. So we can still do this. Looking here at the interception DRMs, I think we're going to be pretty much in the same spot we were last one because we're going to have some offsetting DRMs. My weather is now bright, so I'm +1 on the moon DRM. Okay, so +1 for moon, +1 for radar operator, only +1 for my kit here because I lost one of them. So I'm still at +3, and I have fewer boxes to do it, but now we're going to go for it. So interception at +3. Here we go. 13 is that result. So yet again, my bomber stream skill comes in handy. This is the only interception I need. I am in this bomber stream the entire way. So let's go ahead and load up the ammo counters for my oblique guns. We are in the bomber stream. Here we are. So let's go one to another. I want to get us to the point where we have to have a rules lookup for what happens when you fill up the row and you want to keep going in the bomber stream. I want us to get to that point. Really, what I want to do here is I want to get enough. I want to get enough kills to get my Knight's Cross and switch into the 219 because that's absolutely been my meta accomplishment I've been going for this entire game. All right, so we're in December now. That's on this table. You can see here that we get subtle adjustments of the composition of the bomber streams as we move on here. In fact, if we look here early game, we see the Wellington bomber actually being a preponderant for in the very first month. But you get here towards the end of the bombing campaign, and everywhere you look, it's Lancasters. So, okay, I haven't rolled yet, so let me go ahead and roll to see who we're getting. At a 9, we're looking at a Lancaster with an H2S system. Again, H2S not really applicable for our kit, but it's a Lancaster. While I'm setting this up, I encourage you guys to take a look at the stream that I've done recently with Bruce Garrick on GMT's Bomber Command. He and I actually did a playthrough that we streamed of the two of us playing that game. I'm producing a video right now just on this game, but one of the punchlines that I have to say is that this game has a place in the ecosystem of all of the games that look at this aspect of warfare and this conflict, the Bomber Command night bombings over the Reich. It's a different game than Bomber Command, certainly. It's also a very different game from Nightfighter, the GMT game of a comparable title. We're getting the chance, and we're getting a real good feel here of Carl Sturm. We're kind of rooting for the guy. We want him to be safe and have a successful career, and of course, as he did as well, and his colleagues, right? In terms of a role play or a narrative, we are feeling in his spot. Okay, so as I was saying before, the Schrag music or the oblique guns can only target wing groups. We'll choose the port group as our default group. I will do so from medium range. Let's see here. We get a shuffle every other month on the target deck, which is nice here. As you notice, I only had like 4 cards left in the deck at the end here. When you get the bomber stream skill and you get going, you will go through the deck a lot. As I'm shuffling it here, just a note for those of you that are interested in these games, very high quality cards, I have to say. Good rounding on the corners, good print, good gloss, good feel. They're not too rigid, not too cardstocky, they're not flimsy. It's a game, it's going to be played. I'm going to go ahead and you can shuffle them, you can bridge them, and they don't get a lot of wear. Maybe I'll sleeve them if I keep doing this a whole bunch, but I don't feel like I have to, or they're going to get unduly worn. They're done quite well. Okay, give it another shuffle here. All right. Now let's learn our lesson from last time about not frivolously wasting our expert our expert skill. That was a little regrettable. All right. So we'll note here that in the event our oblique attack is slightly spoiled at -1 hit. As this is the firepower of 12, that is a GP hit, and we're at -1 random hit. Having just only recently skimmed over Board Game Geek and some of the rules clarifications, there was some discussion, which I don't recall Greg's resolution of, on whether or not results that modify the number of random hits affect GP results. But the way I'm seeing it here is I do see that I do get random hits on the GP result, and I will say I lose one of them, and so I won't do the random result. I have to say, if there is one criticism of this production, for those of you that are considering buying it, is there are some inconsistencies and disagreements and edge cases between the player aids, what's printed on some of these boards, and what's in the rules. There are some things that it looks like either there was a change that was happening in late play testing and it made it to the rule book, but it didn't make it to the player aids, or just some area where someone didn't get a chance to pipe up and say, this could be read another way. None of them are deal breakers, and honestly, if you think about this as a narrative game and you role play it, if you will, you can generally lead yourself to a very reasonable resolution without having to feel like you have to rule Nazi yourself or the thing's broken. It's not. But it's kind of like, and actually what I tell a lot of people to do when they're playing any war games, if you're new to the hobby and you're new to wargaming, don't get stuck on it. Just make a decision based on your feel of the conflict, your understanding. Even if you don't know anything, you're learning about it. So make a decision based on your feel, get going, and keep playing. This is a game. It's meant to be played. And so absolutely do the same thing here. There's going to be a couple times where you want to look something up. You're just playing against yourself here. This is a solitaire game. You're not cheating anyone. So just make a reasonable call and you'll get a feel for it. So that is to say, I'm going to take away the random hit. The attack was somewhat spoiled. The bomber kind of did a little knee-jerk reaction when the bullets started flying, and that's just what it is. So on this GP result, we'll note here that the damage is prescribed. Okay, and maybe I'd rather roll them, to be honest with you. But there's a controls hit. Okay, there's 2 engine hits, which will be random. There's a port wing hit as well, and like I mentioned, I lost my random hit. So I'll roll the wing hits. Just 1 through 3 will be engine 1, and 4 through 6 will be engine 2. Okay, so I split them. This is kind of about the worst result I could have hoped for, to be honest with you. This is not great, right? I haven't taken out an engine, so the guy's going to be able to corkscrew. I don't have 2 hits on control surfaces, so he's still going to be able to corkscrew. And I mean, he's a long way from dead. A very long way from dead. Now, the good news about the oblique guns is, like I said earlier, they don't get to fire back. So he's just going to peel off, he's going to go away, and I'm going to be able to attempt to re-engage him. So first of all, let me see if I can keep my eye on him as he peels around. 1 through 2, I lose him. 3 through 6, I keep him. Okay, he's gone. 2. He corkscrewed away. I peeled back around to try and get him. Never saw him again. Now, what we can do is we can say, he did get some damage. Maybe he did end up going down. Maybe there's a hydraulic leak somewhere. But indeed, he was fine. Now, the beautiful thing about being in the bomber stream is we'll just go to the next one. That's all we'll do. So I'll roll. I rolled a 5. We have a Halifax next. All right. Again, if you're doing this, buy the bomber stream skill. Just buy it. It'll keep you from being frustrated on losing them. Get into the stream, swim in the stream. You lose one, you lose it, you move on to the next one. There's a lot of bombers in the sky. Okay, so now I did use ammo, regrettably. I don't have a lot of ammo for this gun, but we'll go for it. Okay, so we'll just repeat this now on the Halifax that we're attacking. Again, going for the port wing. All right, let's see. We are not spotted. We do get to fire. No effects on our oblique gun attack. And we'll get 4 rolls here. So, yeah, let's take it. 4 rolls on the wing group. First roll is a 6, which will be the inboard engine. Second roll is a 7, which is also the inboard engine. We have an engine out, which means that he won't be able to corkscrew. 2 more rolls. Another 7. All right, this is regrettable. I can't destroy the inboard engine anymore. It's gone. So that was a wasted result. And then finally 6. Okay, I blew the bejesus out of that inboard engine. And now we're going to have to do that circling thing. We're going to have to figure out if granted, he's not circling, but I have to circle back around, right? I'm not going to be able to stay on him because I have too much speed. So rolling. Okay, I do get a beat on him. So I have a choice now. I could attempt to line up another oblique gun attack. What that would involve actually is essentially, potentially, him and me falling out of the stream. He's an engine down. He's slowing down. He's maybe even separating from the herd a little bit. It took these pilots a while to set up these interceptions and to sneak in right under the other guy. And so the way that it's abstracted in this game is you have to eat a range box and you'll be out of the stream. I'm just going to come in guns blazing here. I'm going to move over from my oblique gun to coming right in at him at close range with my forward-facing guns. And we're just going to go for it. Okay, I have 10 firepower on these guns. It does not see me, so I will get my 3 result here, augmented by 1 for my range. So I'll get 4 random results, and again, like I mentioned, I'm defaulting here to the port wing group. 7 is still that inboard engine. All right, 3 more. 10, hey, there we go. Okay, fuel tank. It's the second result. My third result. 7, the inboard engine again, and 2, which will be the wing. All right. At this point, I'm kind of praying that that this fuel tank just catches fire. Like, that's really what we got going for us now. So, hoping for better than a 7 on 2d6. Well, that's a 7, which is not better than a 7. So he's leaking fuel and shooting back. All right, let's see what he does. I will take 0 hits. I'll take that. Now, I have to circle back around again. So here we go. This is why you don't start at close range. If you start at close range and you bring him down, you got a better chance of bringing him down. It's great. But now I have a chance to lose him every time I do this. Oh, it's a laner. And I lost him. Okay. So he is an engine out, and he has one system that's one away from resulting in aircraft destruction. So on a roll of 1, 2, or 3 on a D10, he actually is killed. 7, it does not kill him. Okay. So missed that one too. Yet again, this is, were I not in the bomber stream, this would just be done, and I'd have to hope for a fresh interception. Let me... In case any of you are wondering, like, this can't be. You've got to be playing something wrong. You must have misread the rules, Alec. Nope. It's pretty clear here. When a bomber stream result occurs on the interception roll, this skill allows a pilot to continue to intercept bombers in the same endurance box without making a roll. The bombers are automatically intercepted one after another until the Nightfighter is out of ammo or damaged enough that you decide you're done. So I lost him. Moving on to my next one. All right. I'm telling you, I just need 3 kills, and I'm going to start rolling for this darn Knight's Cross. All right, out of 7, that's another Lancaster. The problem is I'm almost out of ammo here on my oblique guns. That's the really regrettable thing about not converting these things to kills. So I've got a Lancaster. I'm going to do this from close range. This is my last oblique gun roll, and we're just going to do this. All right, let's see here. So that's 12 firepower. That's 5. No spoils on our attack run, and this will be augmented to 6 due to our range. So this is 6 random rolls at the port wing group. All right, folks, how do you guys out there in TV land think I'm doing? First roll's a 2, which is... Lancaster marker. The wing. Second roll, 3, also the wing. See, I like this. 3 hits on the wing, we're done. 0 for the third one, that's the fuel tank. Fourth roll, 8, that'll be the outboard engine. That's 4. I was listed at 5, so I'm going to get 6 total. So 2 more rolls. 7 is the inboard engine. Final roll, I'm really hoping for a 1, 2, or 3 here. 9, the outboard engine. Okay, well, I did knock out an engine. Fuel tank, let's see what happened to the fuel tank. There's one thing that just occurred to me I had played wrong on a couple earlier plays. We'll get to that in a second. All right, so let's see what happens with this fuel tank hit. 6, nothing. He just starts sputtering gas. Okay, the thing I got wrong on the earlier plays, which I will note here, which may have affected how well we had done in that previous run. But again, you just go with it and take your lessons. When you are at this close range and literally trading paint, one thing that it is you've got essentially a 1 in 18 chance, roll 2 or roll 12, to catch debris as you're shooting this thing. You're that close. So I'm going to go ahead and roll for that. It didn't occur. I'm going to roll, how many previous times did I do this? Probably twice on the previous interception. So there's 1 and there's 2. Ooh, okay, I did not catch debris. Just for karma. Okay. He is down an engine. He's not going to be able to corkscrew, but yet again, I've got to circle back around and try for another pass. 2. I'm in the friend zone with these guys. That's essentially what this is. I just can't convert it. Okay, so I lost them. I've got 2 systems within 1 of being destroyed and an engine out. So this is on a 1 through 4. This bomber will end up crashing. 5, super. Okay, so I'm still in the bomber stream. I'm still trying to intercept these guys. I just no longer have my big gun. And we'll move on to the next one. Hey, look, over there. I just found a, whatever a 2 is, a Lancaster. All right. Clear all this damage. All right. So I'm going to want a couple of hits on this guy. I want to start at least at medium range. I don't think I want to start all the way out at long range. So let's just go ahead and do this. Going to pull up the first card. My firepower is 10, which results in a group hit. Again, pointing at the port wing. I am not spotted. I fire first, so I'll go ahead and give myself the let's see, the port wing, the controls, 2 engines, which are going to be engines, both the same engine, the outboard engine, and a random result on the wing. Okay, a 4 is going to be the airframe. So, a whole lot of not great there. And hey, he woke up. So he pulls here, and he's going to get 2 shots off at me. And I'm sorry, not just 2 shots. He's going to hit me twice. So that's just going to happen. So I'll roll for his 2 hits. Again, this is with the 6x6 Nightfighter damage chart. So black die is the leading die. 62 is my oblique gun, which thankfully I'm out of ammo for. I'll do another one. 51 is my port engine. All right, so it's starting to smoke a little bit, but nothing too bad. Pressing on into close range, I'm going to continue this. He now knows I'm here, so fire is simultaneous. However, I'll resolve mine first. Okay, so again with 10 on the firepower, that would be 3 random results, plus 1 for 4. He would be corkscrewing, however, his engine is damaged. And thanks for coming by, Compass. Really appreciate you guys jumping in on the stream. Okay, so 3, 1 more for being close range, 4. 4 random hits on, again, I'm just going to keep burning in on this port wing group. So first one is going to be a 9, which is the outboard engine, which is already dead. Second one is going to be a 1 for the wing itself. Number 3 is going to be a 9 on the outboard engine. It's already dead. And the final one, 10, fuel. Okay. Let's see what happened to that fuel tank at close range. 4, leaking gas. Okay. He fires back. For 1 hit, plus 1, 1 hit plus 1 for 2 hits. 54 is the starboard engine. So now that one's sputtering a little bit. 13 is my starboard wing. All right. Coming back around, or at least attempting to. Nope. Missed them. Okay. So we'll take a look now and just see what ends up happening to him. I'll note, though, that I did end up missing a DRM previously. So there's a further 1 DRM here on bombers being lost to damage for leaking fuel tanks. So let's roll back to the previous one. I said I needed a 4. I rolled a 5. Indeed, I needed a 5. So that bomber did die. There's a catch, though. You kind of need someone else to see it. Like, you don't get to claim your own kills. So in order to then get credit for that kill, you roll a 2d6. And let's see here. I believe it's on a 1 or a 2 on the 2d on the d6. You end up actually receiving the credit for that kill. Let's see here. Pardon me. Here we go. And so this is an area where there's a discrepancy on that DRM between the book and the play aid. The play aid explicitly said leaking fuel is 1, and that aircraft was. Here on the in the manual, it simply states engine out and a system that is short. So however you want to do that. I could swear that that was a 1 or a 2 on a d6. So we're just going to go with that. Yeah, here we go. Roll 1d6 on 1 or 2, you receive credit. All right, so... Okay, so he did die, but nobody saw it, so we don't get the credit. So same. Okay, so now let's figure out if this guy ended up dying due to his damage or not. Nope, I put the fuel tank damage on the wrong guy. Okay, we'll go off the play aids for the moment. He's leaking fuel, that's 1 down. He's got 2 systems that are 1 short of dying. So that's a 3 on my DRM, and then an engine, plus 4 on my DRM. So on a 1 through 5, he crashes. 4, he ends up crashing. Did anybody see it? 1 or 2? Nobody saw it. Okay, so that's me knowing I got him, but nobody else did. So this is just a mission, very frustrating one, where, yeah, we're not shooting anyone down. All right, so now I'm at the point where I've got a fair amount of damage. I'm going to go one more time. I'm willing to take an engine out landing. I'm not really willing to come home without having killed something. So I'm going to stay in the stream. I'm going to roll 7 for another Lancaster. Simply, oh no, I can't do that. There's a game mechanic about essentially an extended burst, just like really plowing through with a long burst of your gun starting at medium range. There's a chance for a lot of bad things to happen, predominantly the guns jamming or the pilot becoming blinded and losing some ability to track his quarry. You're only eligible to do that if you are using a gun that has tracked ammunition, and these guns have infinite ammunition. They're ineligible for an extended burst. So I'm going to do medium range, then close range, as I had done previously. And we're just going to go for it. All right. We're not spotted. We fire first. I'll get 2 hits on this. I want better. I'm going to go ahead and expend my expert marker. I want better than 2 hits. Okay. I got better than 2 hits. I got 4. However, the bomber fires first and starts corkscrewing before I fire. So, a little better. Okay, but bomber fires first. So what's the bomber going to get? 2 hits. So the bomber hits are, it's a leaner, 51. 51 is my port engine, which knocks out my engine. Oops. So now I am 1 engine out. The bomber's other fire is 46, which are my forward guns. So those are now in op. Oops. Okay. So now I fire back. This is all happening essentially simultaneously, but the bomber gets the resolve his first. So I'm only firing with 6 firepower now, which puts me at 3 hits. And he is corkscrewing, so that then brings it further back down to 2. So that was a whole lot of nothing for me. But I do get 2 random hits on this guy. Maybe I'll get lucky and hit the fuel tank. Having not stated anything previously, I'm sticking on the port wing group. So first hit on the port wing group is an 8, which is going to be an engine hit on the outboard engine. And the second hit on the port wing group is going to be a 7, which is going to be an inboard engine hit. So nothing going there. Let's just double check the engine damage table. All right. Engine is knocked out. You lose 6 speed. If both are knocked out, you must break off combat. Emergency glide landing. Planes with 1 engine out cause the pilot to not be able to use a couple of their abilities, and bombers lose corkscrew. Okay, so I don't have to wave off. I can actually stick in through here to close range with simultaneous combat, and I'm going to do so. I really want to kill here. So here, on this one, simultaneous fire, I have 6 firepower, so 3 plus 1 for range to 4, minus 1 for him corkscrewing, 3 hits. So I'll go ahead and resolve my 3. And this is random on the port wing group. Two is a wing hit. 2 is another wing hit. 2 is another wing hit. Oh boy, we got a kill. Okay. But he fires back. 3 hits on me. I'm not feeling good about this, everyone. I just have to say that. It's been an honor and a pleasure serving with all of you. 3 hits, okay. 26 controls. You know it's a bad sign when you have to dig up more damage markers out of your tray. So there's my controls. It's the first one. Oh, and that's actually +1, isn't it? Because of the range. So that's the first of 4. 53 is my oblique guns. 2 more. 54, starboard engine. Okay, well that's my other engine. We are now a glider. And the final system hit on me is 41, which is my secondary radar, which I don't have. Okay, combat is over. I will blissfully circle the fact that I finally killed something this sortie, despite having been in the bomber stream for 5 engagements. There we go. Okay, and now we have an emergency glide. This is my first time doing one of these, so we'll have to hop into the good old book. All right, you can attempt to make an emergency force landing in a field or road. We're not going to bail out. All right, roll 2d6 and consult the landing chart. Apply any applicable modifiers. Okay, we'll miss a sortie since we're ditching someplace as a glider, but I suspect that this landing chart's not going to have very good DRMs for us. Okay. We're going to go ahead and say that this blind approach receiver is not going to help us since we're not going to our field. We do have a controls hit for +1. We have no wounds. We actually don't have any damage on our landing gear, but we do have 2 engines out. So we're +1 for controls, +2 more for engines. So that's a +3 DRM. And we're +1 more for weather. This is actually not good weather. So we're at +4 DRM on this roll. So this could be actually pretty darn bad. You know, it doesn't tell us not to use that approach receiver, actually, if you're aborting. And maybe we can roleplay this as there are a number of airfields. You can vert to any number of them. Maybe this helps us, one comes up and we find it. So I'll go ahead and take the DRM since it doesn't tell me I don't. So +4, -1 for having the approach receiver, that might help us. Actually, no, I'm going to take that off. If the engines are out, our electronics are out, we're not going to have that. This is +4 on 2d6. 10 +4 is 14, which is a crash landing. Roll injury for each crewman. Okay, well, super. Black die for me. 4 is... I know what this is, but for dramatic effect, I am severely wounded. My radar operator, on the other hand, 1 only has light wounds. So just so I can track this here. Okay. Radar operator is light wounded. Pilot is severely wounded. And we're back on the ground. I will denote on the log 1 kill. 28th sortie. That's actually +1 XP. And crash. with a severe wound. So we actually need to resolve now the severe wound table. This could be not so severe wound, or this could be GG. And so this is on 2d6. Now looking here. Okay, 6 is going to be bullet through the leg, miss 8 sorties. So that's pretty much going to be a month here, but we'll take it. All right, so I'm just updating the log here, and we're noting that these sorties are all lost due to me recovering from this dastardly thing that happened to me on this landing, which, what do we say that was? shrapnel through my arm, or shrapnel through my leg for 6 sorties. Well, worse things happen. I do get a new wound badge, the purple heart here, essentially. So that increments, which I suppose is nice. I get another experience point, which brings me to 3 and brings me to 3, and my radar operator to 2. I will use what little prestige pull and clout I have to make sure that when I get off of bed rest here, that this guy comes to work for me. So there's a notation in the rules about coming back, getting new aircraft and coming back from injury, which is, here we go. If you have a prestige point to spend, you may expend 1 per crewman to get a previously skilled crewman reassigned back to your plane. So I'm going to burn one of my prestige points to get this guy with his radar operator skill back to me. And I'm going to take a look, actually. 3 and 2 experience is nothing to shake a stick at here. So let's take a look here. For 2, I can get the electronics maintenance for this guy, which actually really could be pretty good. Weapons maintenance would prevent things from being jammed. SA would give me, so he's going to get something. I just don't know what he's going to get. I think I'm going to give him Boy, do I want electronic maintenance or do I want weapons maintenance? Those are both so important. He's the only one that can do my electronics maintenance. So I'm going to have him get the electronics maintenance skill, which now I have to do the regrettable thing of digging through a pile of skill chits here, which this is maybe it's a surrogate for the whole Nightfighter problem. It's a needle in a haystack. There's a whole lot of things here that aren't the one I'm looking for, and I'm looking for one of them. Let's see, gunnery, combat maneuvering, gunnery, parachute maintenance. Yep, that's it, electronic maintenance, okay. All right, so he has his electronics maintenance. My pilot has 3 experience points to spend. Figure out if I want those for anything. There's some pretty big skills here that take a little bit. Gunnery would give my pilot 2 more XP, another random hit when scoring a hit. Oblique gunnery would give me a fuel tank hit when using my oblique guns. Aim would give me a bonus hit of a chosen type. Air combat maneuvering allow me to negate an enemy hit. I think I don't, there's smaller ones like navigation or parachuting and landing. I think I'm going to just call it. I think I'm going to say he doesn't get anything, and we're going to bank the pilot XP for the moment. All right. So we have sat out then the rest of the month. I'll just note the log here that the October total is 1. 28 kills. All right. Thankfully, we are now at a full moon in January. So we're going to go for it. So let's see. Let's go back to the top of the plate and figure out where the raid's coming. Okay, 9. Now on the January table for the raid is Brunswick, which is essentially in the Berlin zone. They've got different names for flavor, but it's here with the rest of the Berlin targets. Okay, so we're going at Brunswick. Let's see what our weather is. 4, it's fine. Random electronics failure. I have the electronic maintenance, and so I may no longer have random electronics failure. That's nice. This guy is now gold. He stays. I'm going to have to keep a prestige point in my pocket no matter what. That way I can keep him around. I will now go to the Berlin box here Let's see if I'm getting spoofed. Now that we are in 1944, the British get a little bit more proficient at these spoof tactics, and so they're going to get +1 on this DRM. 8 modified to a 9 is no effect, so we don't lose any endurance, and we begin interceptions. So let's take a look at our interception DRM, see if anything's changed. We everything is working. We are not yet at any jamming, although that's going to be coming very soon here. Actually, next month, next sortie we're going to have jamming come in. No jamming, full moon for +2. We have not lost our homing device yet, so another +2 from kit, so we're at +4, and our radar operator skill +5. So just a ton of DRM in our favor on a full moon with a lot of good kit and a really trained radar operator. 2, 4, 5, +5 on this DRM. So let's start hunting, shall we? 5 + 5 is 10. This is not a bomber stream result, but we did find something. What did we find? We found a Halifax. All right, let's go for it. Noting that in the log. All right. Halifax here. We're going to be using our oblique guns as we have previously. We're going to trade paint. I do not want a repeat of what happened last interception with about nothing happening. So, yep, close range on the oblique guns. Going after the port wing group. Nobody is wounded anymore. Okay. And using an ammo. Okay. This is nothing bad happening on the oblique gun. We do get a GP hit result with an additional random result. So you do this a while, you get to remember what goes where. The 2 engine hits go both on the inboard engine. So he won't be able to corkscrew. And I get 2 random results on the wing group. The 6 is an inboard engine, which I already have, and a 5 is a control hit. Okay, so this guy's actually looking pretty bad on controls. Excuse me. He doesn't get defensive fire. I'll have to circle back around to get him again. 1 to a 2, I lose him. 5, I keep him, and I'm just going to do a normal gun attack here at close range. Okay. I need to roll my 2d6 for the close range music attack. Let me roll that real quick. Oh! Okay. Well, that's you roll the dice and you take your chances. I actually get 1d6 random hits from falling debris. Super. 5 hits from falling debris. Let's go ahead and roll those. This is the risk you take. So first falling debris hit is a 34. Crew injury. Okay, let's go ahead and roll that. At 4, that is applying to the pilot. Light wound to the pilot. The second of 5 debris hits is going to be 55, which is the airframe. The third one is Snake Eyes, another crew injury. 10 applies it to hopefully someone who's not here and I could ignore it. 10 applies it to someone who is not the funker, and I don't have those people. So that is a no effect. That's 3 of my 5. 2 more. 35 is my airframe yet again. Right there on 35. And the final result is 64. Forward weapons. Okay. It damages all forward weapon systems. So my forward guns and my forward cannons are now both in op. Super. This big chunk of whatever just came down and went wham, right on the nose. I'm lucky I didn't lose the radar, but the pilot caught some of it. The parts of it hit the wing and the gun's bent, and this is bad, bad, bad news. Okay, so I can't circle back around for a gun pass because I don't have the gun. So my option here now is to actually spend the time to eat that endurance. I'm not in the bomber stream anyway, and do another oblique gun pass. I'm going to do this again on the port wing, again at close range. I've not learned my lesson, and we're going to do it again. So another ammo. That's a GP hit there. So I'll go ahead and I'm going to have an additional +1. So actually, I was going to down the aircraft. Control surface 1, port wing. Yeah, so it's just dead. We'll see if we trade paint here on its way down, but I'm marking my kill. All right. Let's see if I catch any of that debris. Ooh, okay, I'm fine. All right, that's a kill. I'm going to, and we go to the next range box. I'm going to be an idiot and try this again. So I was +2 for kit on interception, +2 for moon, and +1 for my radar operator. So this is at +5. 5 + 5 is 10. I do have another interception. At 8, that means I found a Halifax again. This is going to be a close range port wing hit as usual. Let's go for it. All right. I'll take, oops, excuse me. I'll take the 4. +1 will be 5. Hopefully I can get something good going here. So 5 rolls on the wing table. First roll is a 7, is the inboard engine. Second roll of 1 is the wing. Third roll, well, that's a laner. 4 is the airframe. Fourth roll, 6 is the inboard engine, so that's out. And fifth roll is 2, back to the wing. I'm going to have to peel off here. That was the last of my ammo. My forward guns are inoperable from the earlier falling debris. Let me check for falling debris. No falling debris this time. And I'm going to have to see if he just falls out of the sky on his own. I get 2 DRM here for the existing damage. This is going to be 1, 2, or 3. He ends up crashing, and he's fine. So I get 1 kill. I am jacked up beyond all recognition, and am now going to have to land. I've got nothing left. So we'll go ahead and do that landing. This is going to be, let's check our DRMs here on the landing. Weather's fine. I've got my blind approach receiver, so -1 for that. Full moon actually helps landing, so another -1 for full moon. So it's -2. My controls are fine. My pilot is wounded, but not seriously wounded. So really, I'm at -2, needing a 10. So this happens. This automatically happens. And we land. Generally speaking, 4 damage markers would necessitate at least 1 week or 1 sortie loss to fix the aircraft. Now, the benefit of me having this promotion is this amount of damage I can automatically just get fixed and not miss a sortie. However, I can't make the docks go any faster. The doctors are going to continue to take their sweet time and patch me up the right way. So I will still miss the sortie regardless, due to the fact that I have a light wound. So we are going to just annotate here. We did get a kill. This is my 29th kill. We lose a sortie, which is regrettable. It's also my 29th sortie. So I'm averaging 1 kill a sortie. I'll just say light wound. And, which finally gets me, not that it's worth anything beyond roleplay, but it gets me to the gold wound badge. So, all right. So let's go in here now to mid-month. All of this is fixed. I am no longer wounded. The light wound, your guy sticks with you. And we're looking for the next target. Well, I'm getting this ready. Any questions or concerns from any of you guys out there on the stream? It's a 5 on that roll, which is going to be, excuse me, January. We're still in January. A 5 gives us Stettin, which is in the Bremen sector. Move this marker over to Bremen. Less thrilled with that, but okay. So that's where we're going. Weather in this sector is my D10. 1 is fine, good weather. No electronics failures due to my guy. See if we're spoofed. +1 on this DRM due to 1944. Nope, not spoofed. So I only have 3 endurance boxes here. Weather DRM at this point is 0. So for my interceptions, oh, and I have jamming now. So this is going to get to be a little bit harder. Okay. All right. So 1 for jamming, nothing for weather. 1 for the radar skill, so those offset. Let's see here. It's not February yet, so my homing device still works. So I'm +2 for my radar. So this is +2 going for a 9 or better. That's a leaner. There we go. Oh, okay. You roll a natural 1, you get lost. This is why you buy the navigator skill, which I didn't buy. So I actually eat 2 rounds of endurance on that. Okay. Final 1 at +1. This is what's like in the beginning of the game, by the way. You just fly around and don't do anything. Okay, another natural 1. And we land. All right, good game, everyone. That was great. Good weather on landing. -1 for my approach receiver. So landing DRMs here. -1. That's all we got. Good weather, so just don't roll boxcars. Didn't roll boxcars, we landed. Okay, update the pilot log. This is sortie number 30. Nothing happened. Going on to the next target. 9 in January gives us Brunswick. Back to that target. Okay. We are now dark, so we're about to get to not finding folks. All right, so target is Brunswick. Weather is good. Not gonna break any electronics. Take off. Where was Brunswick? Brunswick is Berlin zone. Okay. And are we spoofed? +1 on the spoof roll. Yeah. Oh, wow. We're spoofed hard. 12 is losing 2 endurance. Okay. Okay. And now we're at the wrong time here with the lighting to get good interceptions. So this is now dark phase at -1 for weather, or for moon. So 1 for jamming, 1 for dark is -2. The radar operator brings us up 1. The 2 radar sets bring us up to a net +1. So net +1 here, going for a 9 or a 10. You can see how this gets to be a little bit difficult, and I'm going to only get 2 rolls. So +1 here. I'll take that. That's intercept something at a 10. Not a bomber stream, however. What did I intercept? 8. And 8 in January gives us a Halifax. All right. We're going to go port wing here. Let me get my ammo markers back. I am going to use the music. going to be close. I'm going to trust nothing else falls on me this time. Yeah, here we go. Okay, so port wing, close, music, firepower of 12. What do we have here? I like that DE. That DE is good. Okay, so we killed the Halifax. Debris may have rained down on us. Oh, debris did rain down on us. We'll go with that. 2. First damage result, it's a 46. 46 gives us our forward guns. Okay, super. That's both of those are now in op. And 12 is port wing. All right, this could be worse. This could be worse. I'm going to, and then we move forward 1 box. Okay. Well, we're still at, what did I say we were at here? -1 for jamming, -1 for moon, then +3 for the good thing. So this is at +1, going for a 9 or a 10. Okay, bomber stream. So if we're lucky here, we'll get a couple. But we don't have any forward guns, so this is going to end pretty quickly. So we're in the bomber stream. Rolling for which guy? 7 is certainly going to be a Lancaster. And it is. Okay. So we're going to go after this Lancaster. I'm going to do a close-in attack with music because I'm a glutton for punishment. Here we go. That is a group result with no other text there. So go ahead and just denote port wing, control surfaces, see which 2 engines hits we have. The inboard engine is out entirely. So that's that. He's not going to corkscrew. And now I've, not that it matters since I don't have any forward guns to revisit him. And then now the 2 random damages on the wing. 9 is going to be an engine result, regrettably. Outboard engine. Leaner. 6 is going to be an inboard engine result. So that's that. I can't track this guy around. I just don't have enough gas to like hunt this guy and keep him going. I don't have the forward guns. So I have to break off. We'll see what happens. 1 or 2 on the D10. He ends up crashing all by himself. He does. 1 or 2 on a D6. Somebody saw it and I get credit for it. Nobody saw it. 3rd time, somebody crashed and I don't get credit. All right. I'm in the bomber stream. I will try for 1 more. Oh, and did I eat debris? I did not. Okay. 1 more time in the bomber stream. Let's see who I find. 7 is another Lancaster. Okay. Yet again, close in attack, port wing, using the last ammo on my oblique guns. And that is a DE result. All right, so that's another kill. Did I catch any debris for that? I did not. Okay, so I am out of ammo and out of gas. So what a good coincidence. So now we're landing. The only DRMs here are going to be the landing skill roll. Weather is fine, so this is -1 going for a 10 or under. Okay, we land. So let's spend a little bit of time here now on the log. First of all, I only have 3 damage systems, so it'll be repaired just fine. No issue there. Now on the log, I get 2 more kills and have completed my 31st sortie. I had 28 kills going into this month. These 3 other kills bring me to 31 kills. Looking at the game rules here for the Knight's Cross, we see that the procedure is for the period of at 30 kills, the Roll 1d6 to receive the Knight's Cross. With a success roll of a 1. Each succeeding kill gives a -1 modifier. Roll again each time at the end of a sortie when in which a new kill or kills was achieved. So I have 31 kills, which for me indicates that this is -1 on this DRM since I ended this sortie. So on a 1 or a 2, this comes with the award of the Knight's Cross. 6. So no, not so much for us. I'm going to keep this stream going until this guy's dead or has the Knight's Cross. I'm getting that 219. That's why I am playing this game. That's what we're doing. I am getting out of this BF 110 into a 219. That's going to happen. Okay, on to the next sortie. This is the end of January and was regrettably no moon whatsoever. So let's just see what we have. Target for the day is a 4. Speaking of which, I also have Legion's Games target for the day around, which is essentially a reimagining of B-17 Queen of the Skies. So I'll have to get that one to the table here at some point. Okay, so 4 brings us to Brunswick again. Okay. That's actually a repeat, so we're still going in the same area. Brunswick is in the Berlin zone, so there we are. Weather for the day is pretty awful. Okay, bad weather, but you take off anyway. Nothing breaks. Let's check for spoofing. Again, +1 for 1944. Ugh, terrible spoofing. I've got no endurance. And there's no moon. Okay, so as we start these interceptions, I've got -2 for the moon, -1 for jamming. That gets us to -3. Okay, my radar operator gives me 1. That's 2. And then finally, my kit gives me another 2. That's back net to net ZRM of 0. So unless I'm missing anything, I'm just hoping for a 9 or a 10 here. And finding something in the dark. And I've got 2 rolls to do it. There's no bomber stream happening here. 7 won't do it. 9, whoo, will do it. Okay, I found something. I get my ammo back. If I can kill it, maybe they'll give me a Knight's Cross. Okay, what did I find? At Boxcars, I found an enemy Nightfighter. This is a Mosquito 2 NF. Mosquito 2 Nightfighter. Okay. Mosquito Nightfighter. So again, we go off of the initiative chart here. Did he see me or did I see him? I have the radar operator skill. That's a 1 DRM. Okay. I have an operational radar set for 2. Okay. No situational awareness skill. That was an oversight of mine. And that's it. So I've got 2 DRM in my favor here on this. 4 + 2 is 6. Which is German initiative. There isn't an interception, and we are done. Okay, this was probably the best thing. It's better than me dying, but I certainly don't get to kill this sortie. Okay, so on landing, this is actually going to be a little hairy. DRMs here. I do have my landing aid for -1, but we're in bad weather for +2. So this is net +1, hoping for a 10 or under. Okay, that's fine, and we land. So that then concludes sortie number 32 for this crew, which is another XP. Go ahead and flip my pilot up to 4 experience. Give an experience to the radar operator. Do I want to give my radar operator... No, it's 2 experience for the situational awareness skill. I'm going to hold on just a little bit on the pilot. I really like having the expert. And if I can get the 219, I'd like to spend that experience on the expert skill. But you know what? Not being dead is more important. And I think I'm going to go for this ACM skill, the air combat maneuvering. That's what I'm going to do. I'm going to spend all 4 experience points on the air combat maneuvering skill. That's going to take 1 hit away from the bombers that are firing back at me and the Nightfighters that are firing at me. I'm just, despite the fact that these things are essentially light bombers, I've learned how to dogfight with it. While I'm looking for this, feel free to ask any questions. Those of you that are watching the stream live, those of you that are catching this on the recording, drop by /r/hex encounter and we'll happily talk to you there on Reddit. Okay, there we have on ACM. The BF-110 is actually the only one that was designed from the outset, well, aside from the 219, but at the start of the war, the BF-110 was actually designed as a fighter. However, it didn't really quite have the performance going up against, say, a Spitfire. So the joke was it was the only fighter that needed its own escort. As a night fighter, though, it really did excel. Okay, so that concludes January. That concludes January. Okay, so August, October, December. Going into February now, we do need to reshuffle this deck. And regrettably, the British have caught on at this point to the fact that we were homing in on Monica, and Monica is no longer being used. And so my homing device is now essentially not going to help me anymore. Okay, shuffled up. All right, let's get this 219 here, folks. That's the name of the game for the rest of the night. Let's get this 219, and we can leave it from there. All right. So February. What's the target for the day? Target for the day at 4 is Leipzig, again in the Berlin zone. Okay. Weather for the day is fine. None of my electronics break. I'm there. +1 on the spoofing due to the year. 8 + 1 is 9. We're still fine. So thankfully we didn't get spoofed this time. And now starting to do interception. Okay, so where are we? Moon phase is now dark, so we're -1 on the moon. We are still jammed at 1, so 2 DRM on the adversary favor, both for the moon and for the jamming. We do have the radar operator skill, and we do have 1 functional radar operator set. So this is actually now back to a push. 9 or a 10. I can't get in the bomber stream. I don't have enough help. So 9 or a 10 and I find something. 3 won't do it. 9 or a 10 and I find something. 6 won't do it. 9 or a 10. 8 won't do it. This is feeling a lot like the beginning of the game again. Now the jamming's at 10. Okay, found something. What did I find? 7 was certainly a Lancaster. That's just kind of the rule for the rest of the game. Is you roll a 7, you're getting Lancaster. Yep, it's a Lancaster. There. Lancaster. I'm gonna trade paint with it. I'm gonna do a oblique gun attack. Wish me luck, everyone. All right, I fire first. 5 random hits augmented to 6. I actually kind of like the 6 random hit result better than the group result. I think I got a better shot at piling on where I want, although I've not run the math on that. Okay, so 6 rolls on the port wing table. 6 will be one of the engines inboard. That will be fuel at 0. 7 will also be inboard engine, so I knocked out the fuel system, and I got an engine. 2 would be the wing itself. 2 more results. Oops. 7 is same engine. Last one. 3, the wing. Okay, well, I was kind of hoping. Well, we'll see how the fuel goes. 9. Okay, this thing catches fire. And it is burning. So that Lancaster is killed. Now, do I catch any debris? Oh my. Alright, I gotta stop doing this. I really had to stop doing this. I do catch debris. I catch 6 pieces of debris. That's great. Okay. I have curiosity. Does ACM... Nope, it's when I'm attacked. This is just stuff landing on me. Okay, 6 hits against me. Yeah, this is going to be awful. 53 is my music. 22 is the port engine. 55 is the airframe. Okay, 3 more. 21 is the landing gear. Sweet. 2 more. 45. Starboard wing. Okay, that's 5 results. 1 more result. 36 controls. How about we bring this one back here, folks? I think I'm ready to try and land this. We'll just attempt to. All right, so going into landing now. What are my DRMs on landing? I've got good weather. I've got -1 for the landing, for the receiver. I'm going to have some problems here on the other ones, though. Controls are hit for +1. Landing gear is out for another +1. So I've got +2 for damage, -1 for the kit. So +1 net on this roll. Okay. I land just fine. Get back there. This aircraft has 6 pieces of damage on it, which if you look at actually the errata on what happens here, at 6 hits, they essentially write the thing off and it becomes a hangar queen. They start stripping it for spares. You immediately get a new aircraft, so there's no down sortie as they cannibalize this one and get another one flying again someplace. But I did get a kill, which I forgot to total up on my last log. Let's see here, Jan total. 3 kills in January for 31 total kills. Okay, so this is a kill. This is kill number 32 for me, and sortie number 33. Is that right? Yeah. Okay. So sortie number 33, kill number 32. So this will put me at -2 on my DRM for the Knight's Cross, getting the Knight's Cross on a 1. So this -2. That there is a Knight's Cross. All right, with much pomp and circumstance and peasants rejoicing. I just have to find the thing. Okay, here is our Knight's Cross. Noting it on the log. The Knight's Cross does come with a prestige point. Not needed the 7 yet. Here we go. Nope, that's a 1. There we go. So that comes at the prestige level. I'm now up to level 7 on my prestige. And up to 4 on what I have in the bank on prestige. All right. So now that I have that, and I have 7 prestige points, my guy's actually going to I am already in 1-1 in the unit that flies the HU-219. That was just luck of the draw in the beginning. I couldn't fly the 219 to begin, but I was flying a BF-110 out of the same base. So I'm at the base, I'm in the unit, and along with the award of my Knight's Cross, I now have sufficient clout to cross-train into the other airframe. And so for 2 points of prestige, you can upgrade to a new aircraft in a different series. I can go from the BF-110 to the 219 here. And you note that you do already need to be in this unit. So if you're not in this unit, you need um, if you're not already in this unit, you need the 2 prestige points to get over here into this unit. You also need to have prestige level 7 and the gold, the German Cross in gold to get into the 219, which we finally have. So we're going to go ahead and do that. So that's going to bring me down from 4 to 2. And I am going to get a new aircraft card. So spend a moment here, everyone, and think about what we want to do with this. I'll put this card away. And we'll start looking through the 219s that we can get at prestige level 7. I think what I just put out there is pretty much it. So I'm going to take a real quick look through the box. Again, there's just a ton of these cards available. Many of these 219s here require slightly higher prestige level. One mistake I was noting a number of people on forums doing is actually starting with a 219 despite the fact of not having the prestige level for it. Okay, so the 219s that we can possibly take are the A0 here. We'll note that it's got 16 points of forward guns. It's got pretty much the same oblique gun that I was working with on the BF-110. It also has a primary, secondary radar, and a landing radar, and a lot of gas. So that would be good. We'll note here that this thing has incredible speed. This is one of the few things that could catch up to and shoot down a mosquito. My other option here, available, it's after October 43, so this is available, would be the A2. The A2 still has the same forward suite, and it still has the same, so it's got the same weapon suite altogether. It just has the SN2C main radar and the blind approach. I don't know why I would take the A2. To be honest with you, it's the 2B versus the 2C. It appears like in game it is comparable effects. Everything else looks the same. From a game standpoint, it looks like there's no reason to take the A2 over the A0. I'm going to flip real quick into the aircraft listing in the back just to see if there is any reason that they may describe that the A0 or the A2. Okay, so the A2 had some wing root cannons just as the other aircraft. It had cannons in a ventral array. Yeah, this looks like it's just a minor variant between them. Honestly, I'm going to go here with the A0 simply to go get back to having a slightly better, excuse me, a slightly better detection suite. So we finally have that here in the AG-219 and just a really, really fast aircraft. And I still have a radar operator, and I get to carry my guy with me. We'll note here that my expertise in the BF-110 doesn't carry over into the AG-219. I can't quite apply all of those lessons learned. When we upgrade to a new aircraft, we'll see here that we're going to lose 2 sorties while we familiarize ourselves with this subtype. And so, somewhat regrettably here, I'm going to lose one of the better moonlit sorties, but you know, things happen. Yeah. So I'll put use here for upgrade, I guess. Another log. Okay, so from here on out, we're using the HE219A0, and we're going to start in full moon, which I will take. So compared to our BF-110, it's got better forward firepower, which is strictly an improvement. It also has a secondary radar in addition to the primary radar. And so that's also strictly an improvement. And I still keep the landing receiver. Okay. Dig into the pile of 219. Here we go. Counters. All right. Well, how about it, everyone? Shall we continue? Okay. Let's stay at it. So we are in February of 44 still, and we're going to see what the target of the day is. Had a roll of a 5 in February. That's going to put us in Augsburg, which is in the Munich zone. So we'll go ahead and put the raid target marker over here to the Munich zone. A little bit less awesome for me than where I was, but we'll go with it. Okay. And from here, we're in the Munich zone. We'll see what the weather is. 10. All right, so this is one of those things where it's socked in. By default right now, yeah, fly that new plane. Thanks for good suggestion. Let's go do that. And I just rolled socked in. So like the weather is so bad that they are closing the airfield. If you're an ace, however, you can say I'm flying anyway. You never, ever, ever, ever fly when you're socked in, even though you're an ace, unless it's a full moon. Like you can't afford not to. There's only 8 of, or, in the back half of this sheet, I've only got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 full moons the entire rest of the game. I'm not going to give one up to bad weather. I'll eat the awful landing DRM and maybe bend some airframe here, then miss this full moon. I've got to take this full moon. So that's what we're going to do. I'm taking off anyway. So we're doing that. I'm going to see if there's no random electronics failure. Again, my radar operator is that good. Glad I bought that skill. And now we're going to move on to check for our spoofs. 9 plus 1 to 10 for the year does spoof us, so we only have 2 endurance boxes. I got to hope for some good rolls here. So what are our DRMs? Thankfully, most of these are in our favor. 1 in the opponent's favor for jamming, but we have full moon, so we're back to 1 in our favor. Okay, I have the radar operator skill for 2, and I have 2 working radar sets, each giving me +1, which is going to bring me up to 4. Now, to clarify this a little bit, this is clarification in the errata. The +X modifier for having an operation radar set is +1 +2 based on the number given on that radar mat. If there's no number, the modifier is 0. It's still operating negates. So it doesn't quite clarify if they're repetitive. I would say thematically they really kind of should. These radars were in different bands and they were useful for different things. And it's not that one radar is used versus the other. They both were used to help give these aircraft the ability to find their targets. So that all being said, I completely forgot the number that we were at. So -1 for jamming, +2 for moon is back to +1. Radar operator skill for +2, 2 more for radar, +4 total. Okay, +4. 6 + 4 is 10. That's a bomber to shoot down. What did I find? Okay. Well, we'll roll with this. I just rolled a 12, which again puts us at having found a Nightfighter. Now in February, they're still flying the Mosquito 2 Nightfighter. Just note this. I'll take, while I'm looking all this up, I will take input from the stream on whether or not I should pursue this engagement if given the opportunity. Okay, so I actually have the speed on these people. I can keep them engaged if I want to, but on initiative. We have the radar operator skill, and we have we have 2 functional sets, each at +1. So I want to say I've got +3 on this DRN. So rolling this +3. 3 + 3 is 6. I have the drop on them. Yeah, I've rolled the 6s, 12 quite a bit. That's a fair observation. Okay, so I have initiative here. And so this is going to be the interesting thing. This is maybe my hubris, but looking at Nightfighter combat, I would actually have the drop on this guy, which could be fun. Let's see here. If you win initiative, you may attack the mosquito only if your aircraft is at least as fast as the mosquito. This mosquito has a speed of 18, and the HE-219 has a speed of 21. I can actually chase down this mosquito. Let's see here. So essentially, you're taking combat as if you're going against another. I'm attacking it against the mosquito mat. It's attacking me against my bomber mat. My aircraft mat. They use the same gunnery deck as the German Nightfighters with same limitations, possibility. So they're flipping cards to figure out how they do it. British Nightfighter scores GP, etc. Use the rules for bomber damage to determine damage. All right, you know what? I'm going to say, let's see, you may return fire with your rear guns, if by flipping cards. Then moves to a close range or second round of the pass, if you have right. Yep, here we go. ACM placing here. If you fail to break off, or if you still get your defensive ACM -1 random hit. Attempt to gain initiative. So again, I'm pausing here to review these rules because I've never had a 219. This has never come up. Yeah, so I'm attacking the mosquito. Okay, cool. Do I go for the wings or do I go for... Let's take a look. This is kind of where we're going here on this mosquito. I'm going to go ahead and get the mosquito. There we go. Nightfighter little guy. Okay. So if I can get a group result on him for the airframe, it controls airframe and a bunch of stuff. If I can get a group result on the wing, I would knock out an engine and potentially kill the whole thing. I'm going to keep going on port wing. I'm going to keep aiming for an engine. That's kind of my bag. That's what I do. So I'm going to start at medium range, attacking the Nightfighter. Those of you watching on TV land, let me know if I'm messing something up here. But let's go ahead and do this. Okay. So I am not spotted. I fire first. Bomber begins to corkscrew next round. I was firing with when you fire with your forward weapons, you fire with all your forward weapons. So I'm firing on the 16 column, having spent one of my forward cannon ammo. And that is a DE result. I blew this guy out of the sky. Haha! I got the jump on the Nightfighter. That is awesome. This one gets you a beer back at the squadron bar. And more importantly, it gets you a prestige point as well. So that is the Mosquito 2. Cool. Okay. Let's not count on that happening again. So we go forward one range box, and hopefully, I was saying to myself, all right, the escort fighters are here. There's got to be some bombers here. I am looking around. Let's see, 1 for jamming, 2 for the moon is +1, radar, +4 still. Okay. 8 + 4 is 12. I have found the bomber stream. Almost at the end of my gas, but I have seen the light and I have found the stream. So, yeah, here we go. Let's do this. Cool. So the first thing we find is at 5, February 5, Halifax with an H2S. Get my little Halifax marker. Okay, Halifax with an H2S. I'm going to be doing an oblique gun attack. I've had enough debris land on my head this week. I'm going to do it at medium Shaw's music range. And we'll go for it. So, no spoils here. And at the 12 power, that's a GP hit. So, wing, control surface, 2 engines, different engines, regrettably. And a random hit. Oops, wrong dice. And a random hit. 8 is one of the engines. Which one? Outboard engine. Okay. Okay, so he's not going to be able to corkscrew. Knocked an engine out. Let's see if I can keep pace with him. I can. I know exactly where he is. I'm going to loop back around for a gun attack. I do have ACM. I'm going to play a little dicey here. I'm going to start this at medium range. He's not corkscrewing, so I'm not going to lose any. So this will just be value printed on card. Okay, and all guns. So this is one of my forward ammo. Okay, so 16 firepower is 5 random hits. I'm not spotted. So 5 hits. Let's see what we can get here. 4 is the airframe. 8 is the outboard engine, which is already inoperable. That's 2. 9 is the inboard engine. Nope, still the outboard engine. That's 3. 5 is controls. Okay, and I get one more hit here. 6. That's the inboard engine. Okay, and up. All right. So now he gets to fire back at me. You will get 3 hits, reduced by 1 for my ACM to 2 hits. 21 is my landing gear. Let's recall to everyone that the weather for landing is awful. And 64 is all of my forward weapons. Okay, folks, I think we're about done here. And up, and up. Okay, thanks. I'm able to close in range a little bit more. Now I'm going to attack, oops, he's going the wing, on the engine, not the wing. Okay, now I'm going to attack the starboard wing. Which is going to get me the other group of engines, hopefully. And I'm close, so this is going to be +1 on the random hits. Womp, womp. Okay, attack is simultaneous since this is my second attack this pass. Oh, never mind, I'm not doing that. Disregard. I have no forward weapons. I let this guy go. I have to peel away. I have 3 DRM here for control surfaces and downed engines. So on a 1, 2, 3, or 4, he crashes. There's a 3. On a 1 or a 2, someone saw it. Nobody saw it. I'm still in the bomber stream. I still have 2 oblique gun ammo. So I will try again for oblique guns. Who do I encounter? At 2, I encounter a Lancaster. Going for the port wing. Going to go close in. I really don't have much opportunity to revisit folks to kill them. So we'll go here. Nothing spoils. 12 is 5, and I'm plus closer, so I'm +1. So 6 random rolls on this guy. Let's see. 7 is one of the engines. Inboard. 1, 2 is the wing. 2. 9 is the outboard engine. 3. 1 is the wing. 4. 2 more. 3 is the wing. Oops, that'll be gone. And just for grins, 1 is the wing again. Okay, so he dies. I do get the kill. All right, and I may have caught some debris. Let's see if I did. Nope, did not catch debris that time, amazingly. I'm still in the bomber stream. I still have 1 ammo left on my oblique guns, so let's see who I can give them to. 6. A 6 is a Lancaster. Go for the port wing. I'm gonna go in close. At 12, nothing spoils the attack, and at 12, that's 5 plus 1, so 6 hits on this guy. Again, on the wing damage group. 6 here is inboard engine. 1. 4 is the airframe. 2. 0 is the fuel tank. 3. Leaner. 4 is the airframe. 4. 6 is the inboard engine. That's knocked out. 5th damage result. And finally, 5 is controls. Okay, let me roll for the fuel tank effects. Hey, would you look at that? 9. Catches fire. Crashes. That's good. All right, at which point I try and land. So, this is going to be a problem. For landing DRMs, I have my blind approach receiver, so -1. This is a full moon. It is. It's a full moon. The moon helps. -2. I have damaged landing gear, so my back to a 1 DRM, socked in. So that's going to bring me up to a +2 DRM. Well, hoping for a 10 or under. 5 plus 2 is 7. Land without incident. Updating the log. That's 3 kills this sortie, which brings our total for the game 31, and 4 is 35. So no new medals yet, I don't believe. This is the 34th sortie. I do get 1 prestige for the Nightfighter kill. So I actually am now up to 8 prestige. And 3 current. So just checking here, what gives you prestige? It's here, believe me. Here we go. Downing a mosquito. Any mosquito that you kill. Confirmed kill a mosquito, either a bomber or a night fighter, you receive a prestige point. 1-time award, no further, no matter how many more you shoot down. So I got a prestige for doing that. That now brings me to be prestige 8. Now this is really interesting. I was restricted to these 2 19s simply because that's what I could get at prestige 7. After flying 1 sortie and proving I know what I can do with this thing and actually downing a mosquito, which is a pretty rare feat, I've proven myself a little bit, and now they are slightly more comfortable, giving me some more capable 219s. So there are actually a couple of 219 models available, at 4 of them to be precise, available at Prestige 8, and we are currently in February of 44. So they are all available. Wow, okay, so what do we have here? This R3 has the SN2D, which is a +2 interception, as does the R1, A5R1, both slightly slower. And so perhaps this is something to clarify on the forums. If these +1s here are cumulative, this might be why you would go to one of these +2s. That way, that would make sense as far as the game mechanics go. But both of those look good, but not compelling over the one I currently have. Flipping over to the R2 and R4. Now, this is interesting. So the R2 has slightly weaker forward guns at infinite ammo. Okay, you'll notice that. Those don't run out of ammo, so it's 12 no matter what until they jam. Still with the oblique gun. That's an interesting trade. Here I've got 16, but one of the big one, the forward cannon, has limited ammo. The R2 actually has unlimited ammo. Okay, and effectively the way we've been playing it, the same abilities on radar and landing rolls. The R4, interestingly, it's essentially the same aircraft I've got currently, but it carries a rear gunner, which would help me if someone gets the jump on me in a Nightfighter. So really, the only two things I'm seriously considering here, unless there's a new interpretation on how I should be playing radar intercepts for secondary radars, is, in fact, let me read real quick. Maybe that's here on the damage play aid on what the heck a secondary radar does. Nope. Okay. We'll look up another time. So the question is, do I drop my total firepower in the front a little bit to have it be bottomless, effectively? And have everything else be comparably the same, or do I sit with what I have? I think for the moment I sit with what I have, because it's not so compelling to go from this to this, and it would actually cost me a prestige point to turn in the keys on the one that they just gave me and ask for a newer model. You'll notice that that's 1 prestige point to upgrade to a newer aircraft in the same series. Now, the one that you have gets shot up to hell and they need to give you a new one, or you crash it, they just give you a new aircraft. It doesn't require any prestige. So I think I'm going to sit on the prestige, hold that, because that's pretty hard to come by. This aircraft gets fixed completely with only having 3 damaged systems. No problem. And Bob's your uncle. Okay. So I think that's going to be that. That's the end of that mission. Good prestige point. I'm going to leave this set up. I'm going to try and revisit the stream, maybe pick it back up tomorrow or perhaps Sunday. See if we can't find the thrilling conclusion of our intrepid enlisted pilot here, Carl Sturm. Does he go down in a blaze of glory and crash in a smoking hole, or does he end up continuing to climb the ranks with these various flavors of the Night Cross? I've had a lot of fun. I was very, very glad that you guys were able to join in the stream. I enjoyed seeing your comments. Please do keep them coming. Sorry this was so last minute. And this was a fun experiment for me. This is the first time I've done a live stream of a physical game on my table. And so that's been a lot of fun. I'm going to try to make a little video on this. Don't have very high expectations. So far I'm a streamer. I do well just talking with people. I don't do that great producing things. So, but hopefully, we'll have that in the 15-minute variety, not the 3-hour stream variety. We'll post this to YouTube. Tell your friends. But with that, I'm going to say thank you, everyone. Glad you could be here, and good night.